Week 2 of the preseason has concluded. We only have one more week left of the preseason, so pretty exciting stuff. Almost right there at that regular season, man. So excited. But we gotta talk about some injuries. Starting with MVS and Curtis Samuel. MVS is dealing with a neck injury, and Curtis Samuel has a turf toe. I feel like these two injuries on the Bills right now are probably the most crucial just because that wide receiver room is a gigantic unknown. You know, getting rid of Stephon Diggs, no Gabe Davis. We'll see what happens, but not having depth when you're already questionable at that position is just kind of scary going into week 1. I'm sure they'll have Curtis Samuel ready. MVS, we'll see. You know, anytime you have an injury to your neck, it's pretty serious stuff, but we'll see what happens there. Also, their backup quarterback, Trubisky, got hurt. Damar Hamlin also got hurt. About a week ago, they lost Matt Milano again. The thing about Matt Milano is he's always hurt every year. He was an all-pro linebacker, but I really think it's time to call it. I feel like his body's just falling apart, and yeah, just kind of a tough last couple of years for that guy, but wish him the best. But speaking of the Bills wide receiver room, they actually worked out Corey Davis about 4 days ago. So again, obviously Brandon Beane sees the issue that they're probably going to deal with for this upcoming year, that wide receiver position. So it'll be really interesting to see who steps up and what happens, and if the Bills can kind of overcome that, because it's definitely a weak part of that team. I just feel like this is a huge year for the Dolphins and the Jets to really take advantage of the Bills. I know we said this last year. A lot of people going into last year also didn't think too highly of the Bills, but I really think it's another level this year. But I could be wrong. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the Bills are going to have a rough year, or do you think Josh Allen will just overcome not having a lot on this roster? Let me know. Back to the injuries. Jahmyr Gibbs actually suffered a hamstring injury about a week ago. I think that's definitely a low-key big concern going into this year for the Lions. I know they still have Montgomery regardless, but hamstring injuries are really scary, bro, especially like if you're a skill position player. It's just they can be really, really annoying, and you know, if it's a serious strain, or even if it's not a serious strain, hamstring injuries are very susceptible to being re-injured, and so I think you definitely have to move cautiously with Jahmyr Gibbs. If you're in a fantasy football, I would definitely try to avoid him, just because you just never know, bro. You just never know. It's super, super easy to re-injure it, or a new injury to pop up just because you're favoring one side of your body. So not the best news for Lions fans, especially with how electric Jahmyr looked last year. He looked really, really, really good. Yeah, it kind of sucks to see. Hope he recovers quickly, but I'm telling you, if you're in fantasy football, I would definitely try to avoid him. Another running back that got injured a week and a half ago that didn't really get talked about a lot in the national media, in my opinion, was Christian McCaffrey. He's dealing with a calf injury right now, and that's just scary stuff. Considering McCaffrey's injury history and the fact that he's the 49ers offense, meaning he's always asked to do so much, to kind of start the 2024 year with a calf strain, not what you want to hear, not what you want to see. Again, it's kind of similar to the Jahmyr Gibbs injury. I feel like it's very likely that he could re-injure it or another injury will pop up. I mentioned this in a previous video, but we all saw what happened to Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow last year. They also had calf strains going into last year, and look what happened to both of them. And they were just quarterbacks. You know, they don't play the running back position. They're not making crazy cuts and getting hit every single play. So, again, just be very, very cautious of that. Puka Nacua is also dealing with a knee injury. Not a lot of information has been disclosed there. But definitely something to keep an eye on, especially, again, if you're in a fantasy football. Might be Cooper Kupp season. Cooper Kupp revenge year incoming. And yeah, I really hope Puka comes back and he's fully ready to go for this upcoming year, because man, he literally put up historic numbers for a rookie wide receiver last year, and I just really want to see him replicate his success from last year and put up historic sophomore years for this upcoming year. Just a crazy wide receiver to watch. He just looked next level last year, and I want to see it again. I just think the NFC West is going to be really interesting to watch this year, just because the 49ers window is pretty much wrapping up, in my opinion. And the Rams, they looked really good last year. They kind of came out of nowhere. No one really had a lot of expectations for them, and they really looked pretty good for the most part. And I just feel like they're going to be even better this year. So I hope they're fully loaded. Fun team to watch, fun offense to watch. And then you got Seahawks, Geno Smith, get back in the playoffs, and the low-key Cardinals, man. I feel like this really could be a dark horse team. Kyler Murray looked really good when he came back. Now he's got a true number one wide receiver in Marvin Harrison. I don't know if it's just me, but I've heard like no buzz, no stories at all about the Cardinals in the past 2 months with Kyler and Marvin Harrison. Just another reason why I feel like they're just gonna shock everybody and just be competitive for this upcoming year. But let me know what y'all think about all this news. What do you think about the NFC West? What do you think about the Bills? Let me know. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
They're just grinding away down here, inching closer to the end zone.
Well, that's what you got to do sometimes. It's hard always to think that you're going to come out and just make big plays. You got to do the dirty work.
Breaks the plane. Touchdown. The Rams offense taking the field again. They got everything they could out of that last possession, Phil. That was a solid touchdown drive.
Yeah, just look at them, Jim. The way they run onto the field, you can see they're exuding confidence. And when you got a confident football team, man, let them go and let them play and see if they can make it happen again.
Sims is lined up behind his quarterback as the single back. Reaches out and snatches it.
Rams did a good job there on first down. That pass picks up some good solid yards. Now second and short, much easier to call those kind of plays.
Handoff out of the I formation. That's a gain of 6.
What a good job by the running back that time. He reads the blocks very well, and he picks his way through there and picks up a first down. That's nice.
First down here after the run. The Rams at the line of scrimmage with their set of receivers in a bunch formation. And there's a drop.
That's a wonderful job that time by the secondary. Everybody's in position. Nowhere for the quarterback to throw the football, and it leads to another incomplete pass.
Second and 10. Gurley's going to secure the handoff. Tackle's made, and that'll move the chains. He's averaging about 4 yards.